Welcome to another episode of As Realistic I'm Dallas. I'm here with Mark Verma, so please make sure to like, subscribe, share, comment, and we'll be more than happy to hear what you think about it. Thank you. Welcome.
Hey, nice to be here.
Well, thank you so much for taking your time out of your very busy schedule because when we've met, it was a very brief conversation, but what you said really caught my attention. So I wanted to invite you over for our visitors and viewers and make sure that they hear your story. It was very catching. So tell us about you. Where are you from? What do you do?
I grew up in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Went to LSU. But I've been in Dallas since 2 days after I graduated from LSU. I ended
Wow.
up in Dallas, so I grew up wanting to live here. And anyway, I'm in the software industry, so that's what I do for a living. But what we're here, I think, to talk about today is my passion, which is Paws in the City. And Paws in the City is the largest all-volunteer dog rescue in this part of the country. And I'm president of Paws in the City, but we're an all-volunteer organization, nonprofit, 501(c). But and so I'm also a volunteer.
Wow. So how did you come about to get around the little fluffy beings with the little velvet noses? And
Well, I'm a big dog lover, but I mean, I think a lot of us are. I know you are.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, and we chatted about that, but that's not uncommon. But I got involved in rescue at different points over the last 20 years, just a little bit here and there, and at some point. There were a couple different situations that just really humanized it for me, and they were really abuse, neglect type things, and those events really affected me, and I got the drive to just want to get into dog rescue and to try to make the world a better place by helping dogs out because in my from what I've been able to ascertain, dogs love people more than people love people. So maybe if we can help them out, maybe we'll all get along a little better too.
yeah, we can definitely learn quite a few things from dogs. So how does your rescue program works? Do you guys have a shelter where you have your dogs, or what's your strategy?
Sure. We don't have a shelter. What we do is our primary objective is rescuing dogs that are scheduled to be euthanized in overcrowded shelters. And then we also take in the sick and injured. So we're always monitoring the shelters in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and we're in outlying areas too, for overcrowded situations, dogs that are need to be pulled out of a shelter, dogs that are maybe scared and need to be out of the shelter, and then the sick and injured are urgent needs to get out of the shelter because shelters do a good job with what resources they have, but they don't have veterinarians typically on staff to help out with medical issues, and
Yeah.
those need to be addressed very quickly.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to where you're saying dogs are stressed out. Especially dogs, they really feel when they either betrayed or when things are coming their way that are not in the most positive manner, like euthanization. So God bless your heart for even thinking about those things and making sure that you save one life saved is already mission accomplished in my opinion, and it's wonderful. So let's say somebody wants to be a part of your organization, being a volunteer. How can they get in touch, or
So there's three ways you can support our organization. One is through volunteering, and once again, and I just kind of want to stress this, that not only are we a nonprofit, but we're all volunteer organization, but we always need volunteers to help with the organization. We also two other things is fosters, and we'll get into that in a moment. But I mentioned you asked about a shelter. We don't have a facility because our dogs are in foster homes, and there's some really good advantages to that. but
Yes.
we'll always need fosters. We'll talk about that. And then the third and final thing is donations. Donations help us to pay our vet bills, because
Absolutely.
we don't, you know, not only do we not have paid staff, we don't reimburse for anything, we don't spend money on anything other than the money goes directly to pay vet bills so we can save more dollars.
Wow.
So we kind of go back to when dogs are in the shelter and they're scared in the shelter. They don't know why they ended up in the shelter. Into doggy jail, right? And and they do know that once they get out, they don't want to go back. So that's why a lot of times, you kind of hear about how rescue dogs make the best pets and those kind of things. And I know you have a rescue.
Oh yeah,
Rescue
I
dogs.
took him to a veterinarian. Not to cut you short, I took him recently after 4 years being in our house. He's one of those dogs that hates the front door. He will only go in the backyard. You take him out of the front door, he just literally melts into the ground, and he's like, "I am not moving." And he's not the friendliest dog to other people because he guards his territory. He loves his house. He's like, I'm not leaving. And when I took him to the doctor for his prescriptions and his immunization shots, I was really heartbroken just watching his body language. He was shaking the entire way driving there.
Yeah.
And when he was walked out, when he saw me first, he was like struggling walking on the leash with the lady. But when he saw me, he's like, okay, you did not leave me here. You did come back. And the tail started wagging. It was the most wonderful moment. So I totally understand how dogs can be stressed out by certain events.
Yes, absolutely. So when we take in a dog from the shelter, and I mentioned from shelters, but we also handle kind of one-off abuse neglect cases. So there's those situations too, and I work with the animal cruelty unit and some other entities to work on those types of situations. But in the shelter, when we take a dog in, the first thing that happens, no exceptions, is that the dog goes to one of our partner vets. And we have a number of partner veterinarians that we take care of. There's four major things: any and all medical issues, vaccinations, spay, neuter, and microchip. So that way, everything is taken care of to make sure that from a medical and veterinarian standpoint, the dog is ready to go. We also have a lot of partners, and I've mentioned our vet partners, for example. They are so critical to what we do because, all of our dogs go to the vet and sometimes multiple vet visits to make sure that they're ready for adoption. We also have other types of partners too. We have boarding partners, and our boarding partners, we years ago, I always hated to see when there was a dog that needed to be rescued, and then there were all these comments: "We will rescue if we can find a foster," and that would drive some of us nuts. So we've got boarding partners that there are places where you can board your dog if you go on vacation or take that kind of thing, that will provide a boarding spot for if they have it available, which they usually do if it's non-holiday time. And that gives us a staging area for our dog to go from vet to boarding partner, and then we'll take a few days for us to find a foster and then get placed in a foster home. So that works out good too.
That's very helpful.
And then, of course, there's our so many different types of venues, restaurants, bars, retail establishments, music venues, different places that offer their space to us for adoption events and fundraisers. And those are great partners too. And Three Nations Brewery, which has a beer with our logo on it, and Perspective Beer. So that's a good one as well. So our partners are very important to us.
Wow, that's very incredible to hear something like that when businesses go above and beyond to help out organizations like yours.
Yeah, and they don't really they don't ask for anything in return. They're dog lovers too, and they're looking for a way to give back, and it's really refreshing to see that.
Wow, exquisite.
So from there, the dog goes to a foster home, and that's a big key thing because in a foster home, there's a decompress time that happens because we've gone from shelter to vet to like where am I going next, type of thing. Things are getting better every little trip, but what's next though, right? In the foster home is where sometimes it takes a few minutes, few hours, a few days. Sometimes it takes a few weeks for the dog to decompress and just flourish in a foster home environment.
Yeah, it took my dog 3 days after we took him in. 3 days he did nothing but ate, slept, and maybe go outside. But literally, I'm like, is this dog alive? Are you alive there?
Yeah.
But, oh my
Are you
God.
gonna perk up and like wag your tail and be a
Oh,
happy
and
dog?
after 3 days, my husband was like, what happened? This dog was all over the house. We're like, but it was such a blessing seeing him happy and just doing what dogs do, being happy, keeping us happy. It was amazing.
It is.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
So in a foster home like that, and when we're in our foster homes, we then learn a lot about the dog. So it allows us to have more information about the dog. And when somebody, a potential adopter, asks us about how the dog is with other dogs, is the dog cat friendly? Is it, does it, bark a lot or whatever it might be. We know a lot about the dog, so that way we can help make sure that it's a better fit and a better match.
so how many of your foster families actually keep their doggies?
Great question, because when I said I would revisit the foster thing, we're always recruiting new fosters. Why is that? Well, so we've got a core group of fosters that are always fostering, and it's a small core group. They're always fostering, and bless them because we couldn't do it without them. And then we're always recruiting new fosters to come into our organization and foster with us. And invariably, they'll foster a dog with us, and they'll adopt a dog. And we call that foster fill in the rescue world. And nothing wrong with that. I mean, the
Yes,
dog's found a great
absolutely.
home, and somebody's found a great dog. I mean, nothing wrong. And a lot of times the new foster will say, "But I could still foster. We've adopted this dog, but I can still foster." And then they foster another dog, and they adopt it, and then they're full. So that happens. And there's nothing wrong with that. But that's why we're always recruiting additional fosters.
And my friend, she volunteers with Love Pit.
Uh-huh.
And she already had a pit mix, and she fostered this another one. It's called Rudolph, and she ended up adopting that puppy, and he had some minor health issues. They had to do hip replacement, but she fell in love with that puppy so much she just could not let go. So now she's kind of full in her house, so she volunteers and helps out with other things. But
Good.
I totally understand.
Excellent organization, by the way, the Love Pit. I
Yes.
have a lot of friends that are with that organization, and they're outstanding organization. So
Yeah, pits, they have bad reputation because of what people do to pit bulls, but they by no means are they mean or anything else. It's how you raise your dog and what love you show them.
yeah,
It's just,
absolutely. Kind of a little side tangent on that. So we're not breed specific. We've got a little bit of everything. We always have everything from Chihuahua mixes to Great Dane mixes and everything in between. So we have quite a mix, and we're big advocates for the pit bull breed and for pit mixes. They are. It is humans that cause the issues with those dogs, and sometimes those dogs go through a lot of trauma and a lot of abuse, and that's what causes some of the behavioral things. And anyway, we're big advocates for that breed because that dog is a great dog. And going back to, if you think about just after World War II, that dog, the word pit bull hadn't been invented yet. The breed is American Staffordshire Terrier,
Yes.
and it was known as the nanny dog. And if you think about like a lot of the shows back then, like Little Rascals, Petrie was what is today a pit bull mix, American Staffordshire Terrier. So those were the nanny dog. They were the dogs that were hung out with the kids and the family dog. Kind of like today, we have other types of family dogs, but that some of the bad people in the 70s and are the ones that created the pit bull name and did some bad things with that. That's a whole nother side topic, but once again, we're passionate about that issue as well.
Yeah, I used to have an Afghan, and he did not like a lot of other breeds like German Shepherds or Grand Danes, but he was in love with our neighbor dog who was Staffordshire Terrier. That's why when I saw Pitbull, I'm like, that's Staffordshire Terrier. That's what they know like as in Russia. But then there's another one is a Bull Terrier.
Yes.
I absolutely love them. Before we got an Afghan, I was actually looking into having a Bull Terrier, and my dog loved those. And Rottweilers, those were his favorite buddies. So one of our viewers will be watching and saying, okay, I would like to help out, or I'm looking for a dog. How can they find a dog they're looking for?
So well, first of all, our website is Pawsonacityorg, and our dogs that are available for adoption are all listed on our website. When you right now, so we're in pandemic times right now, and dog adoptions have actually been at a record level. A lot of people staying at home, a lot of people wanting to adopt companions into their household. And so if you go to our website and you see there's like 25, let's say there's 25 dogs that are available on our website. We really have usually 50 to 60 at a time. It's just we have a lot of dogs on medical hold, and as they become off medical hold, then they appear on our website. So you can check that quite frequently. Our website is updated constantly as additional dogs become available for adoption. Normally, in non-pandemic times, we're doing adoption events almost weekly, and I usually am planning over 40 events at a time. We'll have an adoption event or a fundraiser every weekend. And sometimes we also have like little yappy hours on Thursdays. Those are always fun.
Those yappy hours.
Yep, those are always fun too. And fun times for a good cause, right? So, and we're doing things. We're doing events to where you can come by and see our dogs, in a at a patio, a restaurant patio bar type of situation, or at a furniture store, or all the different types of places that we go to. We go to lots of different types of places. Where we're at today has a patio, a dog-friendly patio, for example. So, anyway, we're and by doing that, then people can come by and meet our dogs, and we call that a meet and greet. So, we'll be back to doing events soon. Hopefully, we can get on the other side of this. But in the meantime, we've had to pivot a bit, and so a lot of our meet and greets, we're doing those as a one-off basis. But that a key thing that we do is if someone wants to pursue adopting, they put an adoption application in. And we have a screening process that we go over the application. We do a vet reference check, and then and a home visit. A home visit, if it's a house, our big thing is the fence, checking the fence. If it's an apartment, breed restrictions and weight restrictions, we're checking those kind of things out. And then we move to what is called a 3-day play date. So the dog spends a few days at your house or apartment, and you see how it goes. So, and we help with dog intros if needed, and we really facilitate and help that process out.
Wow.
And at the end of that 3 days, and it's not a hard line 3 days. If you needed more time, usually people need less time, but if you needed more time, that's fine too. Um, at the conclusion of the play date, you let us know if you want to finalize the adoption or not.
Wow, that's a great point that what you brought up, because I see so many sad stories where people have the impulse to adopt a puppy or a dog, and then one of my friends recently, I saw a post that they said they found a puppy literally New Year's Day tied up to the dumpster with a bowl of food. They took the dog in, scanned the microchip, found out the family, and turned out they didn't want it. And that's just so heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And to me, adopting a dog is it's a commitment. It's something that you have to think through. If you work a lot, you may have to think about ways to keep company to your dog with the video camera, so something of that sort. So it's not an non-animate object. It can't just sit there as a chair and just wait for you when you're ready to play with it. It's your family member. So, in my opinion, that's a very, very responsible decision. It's not a dog. I mean, it's not a stuffed toy. It's a living, breathing being, and that who needs love and care, and really doesn't ask for anything else but a treat in return to everything they give us.
Gilia, I couldn't say it better. I couldn't add anything more to that. It's well said. Um, the I was, if you think of the timing of that puppy, about the first of the year, uh, that's probably part of the Christmas puppies thing, where there's every year there's puppies that are given to gifts for Christmas, and
Yeah.
then sometime in January those puppies end up in a shelter, or unfortunately tied to a dumpster and things like that, like the situation you ran
Yeah,
into. We run into that a lot.
and it's
So.
not even just dogs. Like Easter comes, people buy little chicks because they look so cute, and then people color them different colors, and then they end up in your room. But every little baby chick turns into a big old chicken or a rooster. I mean, if you're not ready to have a chicken or a rooster, you probably don't want
Yeah,
a little
or the
baby
bunny
chick.
rabbits. Rabbits are a favorite around Easter time too.
Yes. So adopting living, breathing being is a very responsible thing. So please do consider before and think through that decision. So with your busy schedule, that's such a noble case, the cause that you do, and how do you fit it all in your schedule?
Not a lot of sleep. My close friends know that about me. They know I sleep in on Sundays and catch up for the whole week. But it is a full time job as far as my day job, and then my Paws City is more than full time. But I don't. I just think of what I do with Paws City is just. And dog rescue as just is like I said, it's my passion, and I love doing it. And I, it just, I never get tired of every day is a new day.
Something that makes you feel complete.
Yeah, I guess so. There's always plenty to do, that's for sure. And there's always something crazy that's going on out there. And dogs are fortunately so resilient and so forgiving, more forgiving than they probably should be, but they are, because it's like they can go through so much, and then they're ready to still wrap their world around a new human and
Wow.
a new family. So it's amazing.
That's truly is amazing, and I'm just beyond happy that we were able to have this conversation and hopefully give somebody a hope for a new furry angel in their house. That's wonderful. And would you like to touch on some questions that I haven't asked that will help your organization?
Well, you've covered a pretty good bit, right? So we'll say that once again we're always looking for either volunteers Fosters, if you want to open up your home or to a foster dog, and donations. And donations can come in two forms. There's monetary through our website, and those, rest assured, 100% of any dollar donated goes directly to the dogs in need, so we can save more dogs. We also have an Amazon wish list, which is on the front homepage of our website, Pawsonacityorg, and that Amazon wish list is just various things that we need to help support our cause. You know, crates, leashes, collars, those kind of things.
Wow. Well, thank you guys for watching. And if you would like to open the doors of your home for another beautiful puppy dog and with wagging tails and cute little velvet snouts, so please feel free to reach out to Mark and his team. And of course, if you're feeling generous today and ready to donate, please do so and reach out to Paws in the city.org, and we'll have the little website line so that way our viewers can see it better. And thank you for watching As Real as They Come Dallas here at Turkish Cafe and Lounge in Plano, Texas with Mark Verma. Thank you.
Thanks, Julia. Thanks for having me on today.
Absolutely, my pleasure.